Mic check, check, check. Ben? Okay, mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right.
Hello. Are we all here, do we think? Look around. Do attendance. Okay, good. Thank you. To begin with, I am Kim Stewart. I'm the sheriff of Doña County. I thank you for responding to our call today, for those here and for those watching via live stream. We're going to give you a little more information about the incident that took place on June 19th near midnight. As I always say in these situations, this is what we know now. It is not what may be revealed. This is an active investigation with the task force, the officer involved shooting task force. So know that it is continuing. For clarification, the deputy is off on admin leave. He'll be off for a period of at least 5 working days. So let me begin with how this incident began. And to be clear, the entire incident, the entire event lasts just slightly over 1 hour. Actually 1 hour and 4 minutes. This entire process goes down, or this entire scenario. So on Wednesday night, June 19th, at about 11:30 p.m., to be accurate, 23:34, a male calls regional dispatch and indicates that there is a drunk driver near the Peter Piper Pizza in the city. He then goes on to state that the DWI individual is him, and he is in a bad place. He indicates to dispatch he's been drinking since 5 p.m. earlier in the day, and he goes on to make comments that are reflective of him being in a crisis of some sort. He indicates to dispatch he's not good enough for his kids. He then goes on to state by about 11:45 that he needs to be stopped, that he is in his vehicle, which he has provided a description to dispatch, and dispatch has alerted the units to this activity. He's running red lights, and he is traveling to the town of Mesilla. Now, let me say that dispatch put this out to all local units, put it out to Las Cruces Police Department, to us, and to Mesilla, given his route of travel, given the area we believe he was, or they believed he was in. At 11:47, Mesilla Marshal locates the vehicle in the area of Avenida de Mesilla and Tierra Verde Drive. He initiates a pursuit. It's a brief pursuit. He gives updates, however, to dispatch as to the path of travel. A few minutes later, due to the nature of this pursuit, the marshal, police officer, drops off this pursuit. He loses sight of him in the Young Park area. So again, the individual has gone from Mesilla back into the city area. Our deputy picks him up at 11:55 at the area of Lowman and Valley. Our deputy attempts to make a stop on this vehicle, and once again, vehicle fails to stop. We pursue him through a varied path over towards the area of Salem Colony. That path indicates he went from Amador and Motel to Highway 28, to Calle del Norte, to Fair Acres Road, to Picacho, and then on to Salem Colony. So you can see he was taking quite a pathway to lead us to whatever area he was seeking. He ends up at the last known comment to dispatch is, "Tell my family I love them." So at Salem Colony and Valverde, he is traveling 70 miles per hour. He pulls into an area that's off Salem Colony along the river. It's in that particular area, the Northeast River Levee Access Road. And he encounters a locked gate. And that's at 8 minutes after midnight. At 10 minutes after midnight, our deputy advises shots had been fired. At 12 minutes after midnight, dispatch is advised by our deputy that the subject is down and CPR and first aid is being rendered. Our deputy was first on the scene alone, and as soon as this activity went down, the shooting went down, our second deputy rolls up to assist him. So he wasn't there very long, but it was primarily the one deputy there alone with the suspect. So what we're going to show you is a little bit of the video and a little bit of the stills of this particular incident so that you can see the exchange. Okay, at this point, we're going to show you a couple of stills here. The still number one is he's emerging out of the vehicle. Then you can see in the next still where he's extending his right arm. There's a gun in his hand, in his right hand. He's extending it out, and he fires a shot at this point. Then the third still, you'll see he brings the gun back towards the front of him, fires again. You can see the flash from the gun. Then this last still is at the point where he aims the gun at the deputy. I will say that this round does hit the car. It hits the windshield area, generally speaking, and it's at that point that the deputy returns fire. We're not going to comment on anything more specific, such as numbers of rounds fired or any of that. Of course, I don't let out the deputy's name. Let me tell you, the individual involved in this was 26-year-old Michael Christopher Goodhart, and it's Goodheart. He is a Las Cruces resident. He was transported. Our deputies worked on him at the scene for several minutes until EMS arrived. He was transported then to Mountain View, and he succumbed to his injuries at just 2 minutes after 1 a.m. So 1:02 a.m. he was pronounced deceased. So that's pretty much it. Again, I just want to reiterate, it's an ongoing investigation, and things can change, but this is what we know as of right now. And there was, the other thing I want to note, he had a conversation with dispatch throughout we don't know whether that was a continual call or he was calling in or breaking off, or they had him on the line the whole time. I don't know that. So I don't know if I can answer any of your questions, but anything else anybody wants to request or add? Oh, Justin?
Just for clarification, can you just tell us the make and model of the car and the type of gun that was used?
Can you?
White Dodge Durango.
It's a white Dodge Durango. And the gun, I can't comment on that. Obviously a sidearm, firearm, handgun. Anything else?
You know, I know this is not the first time that your deputies have encountered situations like this. Can you just talk to us about like what the approach is supposed to be for when a deputy encounters somebody who's expressed both you know, intentions to commit suicide and has a firearm?
Well, generally, if we can engage in a conversation, we're going to engage in a conversation first. As a matter of fact, I think sometimes individuals believe that we will always engage and remain with someone who is threatening suicide. If they are not a threat to anyone else and they don't pose that threat, we leave. We've actually left scenarios like that because, you know, evidence research shows that sometimes we escalate those activities. So the last 2 years that we've been involved in critical incident training, we have changed our approach a little bit. Now, this is a little different. We didn't really have much time to speak. He's shooting immediately upon getting out of the car. So at this point, regardless of his state of mind, we are going to take some action. He's clearly, actually, not only was he a threat here, he was a threat to public safety for the previous hour. So obviously, we want to engage whenever we can with individuals. We always aren't given that scenario. And I think you may remember, we've had this before where we haven't been able to engage in conversation.
Did he inform, based on what you can tell us, did he inform dispatchers that he had a firearm prior to the...
I don't know. And that's the part I'm being used in the investigation. That's why I'm saying I'm not even sure if he was on continuously with, you know, they will often try to keep them on the phone to keep talking and to find out a scenario. And they found out a lot, right? They found out his car description and generally where he started from. They didn't have a continuing flow of where he was traveling, I'm understanding. So that part is going to have to come out through investigation.
And then the specific location of the incident, was it within Las Cruces or was it within the county?
The county. So it was off Shalem Colony. If you're familiar with that long road off of Picacho, there are several accesses down there to various parts on the river. And he did encounter a locked gate.
Were there any Las Cruces teams dispatched as part of it, particularly any of their like mental health teams?
We don't know. We just, all we know, at least at this moment I know, is that dispatch alerted at least our 3 agencies just because of the general area he was in. And as a matter of fact, I'm not even sure if they engaged him. That's something you'd have to take up with LCPD. I don't know. Anybody else?
Yes, and to quote with KVIA, the release described him as when the deputy encountered him near Valley Drive as driving erratically, and he described him as speeding towards the end of this. When he was initially encountered, can you give me any more description on what that erratic driving looked like at that point?
I was called at this time, and the other thing I did learn was he was driving without his lights, and he was in oncoming traffic for various periods of time. And then, as we've noted, on Shalem, he was 70 miles an hour out there, and if you've been on that road at night, it's dark and twisty. So that said, I was aware even that night that there was some of that erratic driving description. Anybody else? Okay, thank you very much again for coming. I appreciate it.